What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. Where are we? It'll do. I'm starting to do my template just for the seat hump on ASBO. This is going to be like the bit where the seat goes. So it's dead simple. This piece of card is how high I want it to be, roughly. No, it is. It's how high I want it to be. I've done a centre line, and now we've just with a compass, just scribed an arc on it, sort of thing. So this is where it is going to go. I just want to mark it up with a Sharpie, just so I can see it, because it's only in pencil. And my bit of card is rather grubby. So we'll get this done. Ideally, I will be making this out of plywood, but I haven't got any thin plywood. I've got some big old thick chunky stuff down there, which I suppose would do, but because it's a thick, like where you're putting the piece of metal on top once you've shaped it and everything, trying to see what's what, it's a bit awkward just because of the depth of it. So we'll have a go at this to start off with. At least I've got a shape to follow. We can chomp that out. If I need to do it out of wood, then I'll do it out of wood. But for now, this will probably do. Well, as a start for 10 anyway. Right, so stick him on my marks, like that. That's where the back of it's going to go. He's going to be a bugger to do, I could tell it already. This is not very big. Where's my ruler? At the top, you're only talking, what, 7 inches from the front of this to the back of that. It's a little bit less down here, not by much, maybe an inch less. But there is going to be a lot going on there in a short space. So this is basically just a curve that was drawn out with a compass, so it's just a constant radius. Here I've got a tighter radius, then I've got a straight bit, and then there will be a radius to this which will actually be quite big because it's on an angle. But I need the whole thing to, where it comes off the back, it needs to kind of come out and then go flatter, because I need to avoid this corner of the battery tray. The battery is this way because I've got a starter solenoid down there, but there is a lot going on in quite a short space. I want it tucked up as much to the battery as I possibly can do. And on the inside, there's just going to be like a 10mm sort of return lip, if that makes sense, just to give it some strength at the front. But there is going to be an awful lot of curve needed in a very short space there, I think. Right, let's we'll tape him down for now, and then we'll get a piece of paper, make up a template so I know how big that piece needs to be, and then we just go from there. Right, so lay it all out flat, and that's what we've got. This is just a very, very, very rough line. And I'm going to need to leave a border, probably 30mm, I would think, all the way around this anyway. Purely because I want to be able to constrain the curve that I'm putting into the middle of it to start off with. What's the best way of explaining that? So from about there to there, I need there to be quite a pronounced bow to it. all right, so we need to wheel from there to there. However, I want that to be a lot more to start off with than it needs to be, because as I start wheeling it this way and putting that shape into it, so it bends around like this, that hump that I put in here is going to lessen. It's going to get, you know, it's going to reduce. So when I'm wheeling it, if I've got a border to it which I don't touch, the sheet metal on that border is going to stay exactly the same. The sheet metal on this bit where I'm wheeling it is going to grow, so that bump should become a lot more pronounced. It'll get to a certain point and all this will start to buckle, so we'll have to go over the ends, but I would rather have more than less. One, because you've got something to hang on to, and two, because if you do want to constrain it in any way, then you can do. So essentially, we're probably going to end up going sort of from the ruler, same sort of distance down here, and you know, half that again on the length, I would think. That's going to be the piece of sheet steel that we're going to need to start off with. And then I'll mark it up, decide where I'm going to start wheeling it, and we just go from there. Right, let's see what sheet metal I've got. Right then, so it is really rough. If you can see from my template, I didn't even go to the line. I just got roughly the same shape. You fold it in half, it's pretty much there, but it's not exactly. It doesn't need to be at this point either. I just want a rough idea, because to be fair, with me doing this, it's not an exact science. So let me show you what I've done. I've just marked it out really simply. Okay, so I've got space. Got space all the way around the outside, just so I know that that is roughly the area that I'm concentrating on. And this bit here is where I want to put a definite crown into it, so it goes, sort of drops down sort of at the back of the seat unit, if the seat hump, if that makes sense, or it goes back down to the frame. So I definitely need to roll that bit and get that really curving up. So we're probably going to end up doing a strip all the way along here where we properly get that going. This bit is going to be curved less, but it's obviously the whole thing has got to go that way as well. If I can try and get this bit in first, then we'll probably end up trimming these corners off, because this will really start to constrain it, and then we can just keep working it and see where we go. I've got my template. I've marked the centre line on the template as well, which is here, so every now and then I can just plonk it on again and just, you know, make sure I've got all my areas right, and we'll just go from there really. So we're going to start rolling this. I think I'm just going to do a strip straight across there to start off with and get it doing that, I reckon, and then I might be bashing it. Right, don't need you, you're the wrong one. So let's have him out and put something a little less aggressive on. I don't know, we'll go for that. Right, okay. I have been practicing, because this ain't easy. So I've found. It's not easy on a long bit either. But it's just a case of slowly. And I'm just concentrating on my tracks really, trying to get my tracks as close as I can do. And hopefully we can get it bending. What was I going to say? Yeah, today's Wednesday, so I'm back in my work later on. Turns out I've actually got Friday off, which I knew nothing about because nobody at work told me. For reasons unknown, or you know, they haven't been explained to me anyway. They're closing the plant on Fridays for the next 5 weeks. But because I work on my own in the model shop, I don't get to go to all the meetings where all this lot gets talked about. And it was purely by chance that I found out yesterday that I've got the Friday off. Now, I'm halfway between, this is my last week in the model shop, and then I'm off to industrial engineering, and they are going to be in on Fridays. So I've got this Friday off, I haven't got next Friday off, which is fine. But what it does mean is I can come in here and do a bit more on this and just sort of see how far we go. Really, I want to get it done this week, but you know, I am a novice when it comes to an English wheel, so it might take me a little bit longer. It's starting to go. Yeah, it's starting to go. A little bit more on it. You can tell it's starting to go because it's not as floppy anymore because it's getting a bit of shape to it. Right, so you see I'm getting a curve in it this way, but it's now gone a bit, it's like popping. Reason being is that I've only really been wheeling this middle bit in here, so this bit is growing. Yeah, I put a curve on it to start off with that way, all the way along, but then I've just been concentrating on that middle bit. Because that bit is growing, all this is starting to pop a little bit, look. So now what I can do is start going this way to get it to shape over that way, and it should start to pull all this stuff out, as I understand it. But we'll just have a go, eh? Right, let's, do I keep that one in? Oh, I suppose I could keep that one in. Yeah, let's give that a go. Right, start getting properly out of shape. We're definitely getting a wobble up here, look, because I'm not wheeling this bit, but I've got a curve in it that way, and I'm starting to get a curve in it the other way as well. Yeah, this bit is just pulling it all out of shape now, so I think I'm probably going to end up chopping this down pretty much to the size of the thing that I want. I ain't going to get exactly there because obviously this isn't spot on, so I think we're going to start trimming this down. I'll probably go like, I don't know, 10 mil outside of my line, just so I've got a little bit to play with, and that should stop all this wibbly wobbly going on. Look, because this is basically untouched, and it's all starting to pop out of shape and stuff. So I'm going to chop this down, I think. I'll go 10 mil outside of that, and from this point on I'm going to be wheeling it right to the edge. Hopefully that's going to do it. Right, okay. Right, so just wheeling it. You see, it's very bent, look. I'll start to flare the sides up, and I've got a definite crown there. So now this whole lot needs to come in, which means this middle bit here needs to stretch out this way. So I think I'm going to bash it. It's rolling pin time. Thing is, if I can raise this up, it's going to pull the sides in. So there's my centre point. Where are you? There. That's roughly a centre line. And that sits on that way, so it's this area here, something like that, that I really need to raise up, I would say, to start off with. If that goes down, then that's going to come up, and yeah. Right, let's bash it. Right, so I've got the shape front to back that I want. Let me show you. So across here, I want this bit to be, I want this bit to be flatter than this bit. I want this bit to dip down as it gets towards the back of the bike. So this is pretty much flat there now. And as you can see, it sort of like dips off and goes down that way. That's the sort of shape. It's only subtle, but I don't want it flat, basically. So this is the side that is towards the front of the bike, and this is the one to the back, and obviously this is a lot bigger a radius than that one, which I need to reverse. I think what I need to do is to wheel it diagonally across here on both sides to put a curve into it that way, because that would sort of pull these two edges together, I think, and it would open this bit out. I've smoothed all my Bosch marks out. It's smooth as anything, it really is. And you can't really see them on the inside either, which is nice. So now I just need to reverse that curve and bring those two corners together and force these two out, which is probably going to change the top of that again. You do one thing and it works and you get it how you want, and then you do the next bit and it changes the bit that you just did. So well, it's coming out all right though. I'm pleased with it so far. Anyway, time is getting on. It is now 12:30, so I need to chip off to my work, but I'll be back. Right, I'm back. It's now Saturday. The week has just gone. I've not had a chance to get in it. I've had other stuff to do, which, you know, I've not been able to get into the workshop, basically. So that's why you've got one less video this week. But with Saturday, we're in here all day, so I'm hoping to get this basically done. And I've also had a bit of a change of heart. Right, if I get a picture from this end, what I'm using as a buck, which ain't really a buck, it's just a bit of cardboard. It was cut out with or is marked up rather with a compass, so it's literally just a semicircle. The trouble is, when you look at it from the front, it's, oh hello, more messages. It sort of follows the shape of the tank, but because the back of the seat is quite angular, like it just looks wrong. It's too big. So I'm going to bring it in a little bit on the front. Pretty much the shape of the front at the minute, if I'm honest. I quite like the look of that. However, that does mean I've got to put more of a curve into this, and I've got to bring the sides in. I was looking at, I don't know if I've mentioned him before, but Laze Metal Shaping. He was the fella that I watched loads and loads and loads of to try and learn how to use an English wheel. But there were some other fellas in the comments that mentioned Ray from ProShaper.com is his website, or something like that anyway. I'm sure it is. I like that fella. I do like him. He explains it in a way that I get. He does the American thing of using 200 words where 20 would do. But he does explain it, and he explains it very well. So we're having a slight change in tack on the way I'm doing this, because I think Ray's way is going to be easier for me to do. So that's what I'm doing. He's all been cleaned up, so we can get wheeling again. And I need to put more of a hump in here. Basically, I need to bring all this lot up, because we've got that to clear, and because I've just shaved this corner off, we need a bit more of a hump in there now. Right then, so one of the things Ray was going on about is the temptation, which I understand because I did that. The temptation is to go for the really crowned wheel to get a real good curve going and stuff. You don't want to be doing that, apparently. He did a Well, he calls it a fender, but it's really a mudguard, but he's American. he had this wire buck, and he did like a mudguard fender thing for a car. There we go. And he did it all with wheeling, not with bashing it with a hammer. And it was like it was a complex curve, and it was like really pronounced and stuff as well. And he was saying that you can actually, if you use a slightly different technique, you can actually get a really big crown going, and it is actually quite easy to do. The other thing that he does is if you get a flat piece of sheet and then you roll a hump into it, he flattens it out on the table so you can see the hump in it, you can see how much metal you've shifted, and then to get the shape of it, literally he's just bending it. So as you bend it, the hump still stays there, it doesn't completely go, but you can get the shape of the rest of the panel into it really quite quickly and easily. And I was I don't know why I was in the mindset of, no, you just got to wheel it and that's it. But you don't have to be. You use a combination of the two, and you can actually get an awful lot of shape going on, actually quite quickly and very accurately. I mean, this thing that he made, it fitted the buck like, well, you couldn't really get much better, I don't think. And it looked awesome. He was spending an awful lot of time at the end as well, working on the finish. So with steel, the more you roll it and everything else, the more polished it was getting as well. I mean, he was cranking up his pressures quite a bit, which is what I'm going to be doing now. I'm using a lesser crowned wheel, but it almost came up like chrome, the finish that he had on the end of the day. Now I'm not particularly bothered about that because it's all going to get, you know, DA'd down and keyed up ready for painting. But I like the way that he was getting the shape into the metal. It just makes sense to me, so that's what we're having a go. And where the ends start going a bit wibbly wobbly, so as I'm stretching this bit is going to start going out of shape because I'm leaving sort of 10 mil from the end that I'm not touching. And where all that starts to go wibbly wobbly, you then go 45 degrees right up to the edge, but not past it. Mr. Man in his van. Yeah, right up to the edge, and it just takes out some of the work that you've been putting in, and it flattens out that wobble, but you keep most of the hump that you've just put into it, if that makes sense. So that's what we're doing. He made his own English wheel as well. It's a lot bigger and better than this one. But the anvils that he's using, this is a solid one. He made his out of a piece of tube, and he capped the ends of it and sunk bearings into it, but it's basically hollow. So what that means is, like with this, as I'm wheeling it, there's quite a lot of weight and mass behind this, so there's quite a bit of inertia. So you have to sort of pace yourself as you're wheeling. Whereas, because his is lightweight, he's just like that. He's getting loads done in a very short space of time. But he's good. I'm halfway through watching all his wheeling series and stuff at the minute. He properly knows his stuff. And he explained a whole load of stuff that I hadn't heard of before. So that's why we're going with Ray's approach for this. And we'll just see if it works. Right, I'm running into a few limitations here. I really want to roll it the other way, but I can't. What am I talking about? Well, a lot of things is going dead good. I'm getting lovely curves on it, look. That way and that way. It's definitely got a nice big tip down to it here. So that has come out really quite well. And the finish on it is getting brilliant. Like, really good. I'm getting quite good at having all my tram lines and stuff real close together now. And one of the things that Ray was going on about was surface finishing and stuff. So I've been playing about with that, which is essentially where you're just reducing the pressure. So the wheel is only just touching, really. And you keep all your tram lines really, really close. And it almost polishes the surface. There's not a ripple to be felt anywhere. And it's getting dead shiny. I haven't wheeled this bottom bit, but if you compare that bit to that bit, this is lovely and shiny now. Oh, it's definitely getting there anyway. The limitations that I've got is because this is curving over, you can only roll it so far, and then you clobber in down here. And I really want to be coming down a little bit more. The other thing is that the difference in the curve between the front and the back is actually quite a lot. So I'm having to stretch the material at the front section an awful lot more, so it kind of pulls it all in. I haven't got a deep throat stretcher, which I could use if I had one, or a shrinker stretcher. But if I had a deep throat one, I could stretch this out an awful lot easier, and I could tighten up this bend here as well, just so it fits the back hoop. But I ain't got one of them, so we're having to do everything just by stretching it. Which makes things interesting, and it takes an awful lot longer, and I'm working in steel, not alley, so it just takes longer to get all the metal moving. But that said, we're not really doing too bad. The difference it makes, see, this is going nowhere near flat now. But I have to squash it out a little bit just so I can wheel it more and stretch the metal where I want to stretch it. But it's all staying nice and, it's all fairly even. There's a little bit of a wobble to it, but we'll sort that out as we go. What was I saying? Yeah, so the bit that we're probably going to be doing differently is I'm probably going to have to make this in 3 sections, which I didn't really want to do. But, limitations of Sherman and the number of curves that I've got in a really close proximity as well means I'm probably going to have to chop this, and I'm going to have a top section, which is the bit I'm concentrating on at the minute, and the sides is going to have to be done separately. I think that's the only way I'm going to get it done, which is going to drag this hump out a little bit, which I'm not too happy with, because I wanted to get it done, but it's got to be right. It's got to fit nice as well. This is just going to get at the back, it's just going to get rolled over the frame hoop, sort of like half tube depth, half the diameter, and then we're going to fold the ends over. We'll just tap them down, sort of planish it down. There's going to be studs on the inside to fix it all in place. So, it's just, I can't get the bends in it where I want to get the bends in it, because it means wheeling it over here, and I'm just clobbering on this bit of the English wheel. So I think I'm going to have to do it in 3 separate pieces. The other thing that's going to be changing, let me show you. I've done this in the update. If you saw the update, you can tune out for this bit. But for those that haven't, I'm changing this around. Basically, imagine the battery and the battery tray ain't there. So once it's all done, the seat hump will go on. There's going to be a point here to mount it, a point at the top and a point on this side, which is like a fork-shaped bracket, so it will go on and then you wind a nut into a stud, basically. Then the battery tray will go in. He's fixed down by 2 cap edge screws on either side, and then the battery can go in from the front and put his strap on, and job's a good one. The only trouble then is the terminals, the way I've got it set at the minute, terminals is on this side, which is just going to make it bloody awkward hooking everything up, because you'll have the thingy over here with a return lip, there ain't going to be a lot of room to get in there to get stuff sorted. So the battery needs to turn around so the terminals are at the front so I can get to them easy. I need to redo some of my wiring anyway because I've raised the battery tray, which means, you know, one of the leads that goes to the starter solenoid isn't long enough anymore. So he needs to get redone. But then all these lives in earth, they all need to get changed about just because I'm changing where I'm putting the terminals, because they're going to be at the front. So all this lot has got to get done as well. And it's got to get done soon too. The reason it's got to get done soon because we're booked in on the dyno on the 8th. I was hoping to have a seat hump on it for that, and I might still get it done, I don't know, it just depends. There is a load of stuff that I need to get done for my own little business. That's all covered in the update, so you would have seen that already. But I need to, for it to run, I need to turn the battery around, rewire it, you know, just those bits that I need to get done. And make sure it is running such that we can razz it up on the dyno and see what the new jetting and everything else is doing. We are going to be having another trip out to the dyno as well, because some stuff like the, again I did cover this in the update, but just in case you haven't seen it, the exhaust that's on it at the minute, the quietest I can get it is like 105 dB. We need to get it down to 99, so I'm on the lookout at the minute for a longer can, you know, just a slip-on end can, and then I would need to make a link pipe up for it, and I would also need to mount it to the bike somehow. In order to mount it to the bike, if I need to, it needs to be done in a way that I can present it to the MSVA test centre as a finished bike that looks finished and not like it's just got an exhaust shoved on there that's going to be pulled off as soon as I leave. So it's got to look right. And I think what I've decided to do is to hang it off the number plate. So the number plate is going to be like a standoff version, I think. It's just going to make sense. It's just going to make more sense to do it that way. So essentially it'll be a standoff that comes off the underside of the seat unit. Then there'll be a tube across the top, which the indicators will go into, and then the number plate mounting bracket underneath it with the light and everything else at the top. But what I'm thinking of, if I do it right, then on that tube where the indicator is, I can have an exhaust hanger off there right to the end of the can, which it wouldn't be my chosen way to mount anything anyway, but it does mean that I don't need to weld anything onto the frame or have an extra bracket or something like that, just to stick an exhaust on, just to go for the MSVA test. The other option I've got is to weld weld some sort of hanger onto it, but I present it to the MSVA as a not painted bike, basically, which in some ways I'm thinking about doing anyway, because if they do come up with anything and I do have to change something, then I really don't want to be hacking up a freshly painted bike. So that's the other option. I think I'm probably going to mock up different, well, once I get the can, I'll make the exhaust and we can mock stuff up and see what it looks like. But I think the standoff number plate mount is going to be the way to go. It ain't going to stick out a great deal, not by a long shot. I'm probably going to do it in alley just because it's lightweight. But that's what I'm thinking of doing. See, I've just got this horrible feeling that Mr. MSVA is going to go, well, I don't like that, you need to change this before you pass. And it's going to mean cutting into the frame or chomping up a seat unit or something. So I think it's just going to be a prudent move to do, basically. Here's my thoughts. Come on. See, I'm clobbering it again, aren't I? Right. This is really hard. Really hard. How are we looking at the front? That's better at the front. It looks dead good from the side because all this lot is going to be going. So I'm quite liking the shape. I can get it to, we're pretty much touching the frame from there to there at the back. But then where it goes straight, it's really hard to make the bloody thing go straight. Oh! How am I going to do that? He's tight all the way down around the frame. And I do like the curve. It marries up with the tank just lovely from the back. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right, that's the next one up. So we go with that one. This hump is not getting done today, just so you know. It's the only way I can think to do it, because I need this lot to come in more. So as long as I don't touch this edge and I stretch the middle, that's going to bulge up, that's going to constrain it, so that should go flatter. Should. Is the idea. But there is a proper bow to this now. I can't stretch it out any more than that. Right. Okay then. Right, I might be admitting defeat on this one for today. This bit, the shape there is lovely, and it all lines up that way with the tank, which is peachy, and it's going to sit about like that. So from where you are, your eye's being thrown off by all this lot. Trouble is, you can shove your fingers in the gap there. So to give you the idea, if he's down like that, then roughly, he's coming down a bit. There. I suppose something like that, ish. Ignore my horrible lines. And then from the front, it's probably going to be there, there. Something like that. That line is kind of where it's actually going to be once it's all trimmed down and put in situ and everything else. Thing is, although I've got this curve at the top all right to about there to about there, right? So this bit, out of all that sheet of metal, that's the only bit I'm happy with. It actually fits quite nicely. It's all symmetrical, pretty much. Maybe a little bit of finagling needed, but this bit is a complete pain. Because I've started to wheel this and it's all curving, this bit as well wants to curve, because you have to go past where you want the curve to finish in order to sort of like blend it in. So this part of the panel is also curved, but I want this back bit to basically be straight. Then there is going to need to be another curve, which is only a little one. And then from here, that needs to be a bigger radius. So I want straight bit, quite a severe curve, quite a gentle curve, and straight. And I ain't going to do it just by wheeling this one piece of metal, I don't think. So I think what we're probably going to end up doing is chopping that bit out, doing the side bits as a separate piece, I think, and then welding them on, and then wheeling it again to dress out the weld. Which is going to be a massive pain. If you stand back and look at it though, it don't look too shabby. It looks quite tall actually, but then again Jixit did as well. But by the time you've got the seat in there and the seat's up here with its padding and all that sort of stuff and going up the tank, it's not going to look as big. It is a nice shape. I do like the shape. It's just a shame that's the only good bit that I've done so far. Anyway, time is getting on. It's now gone 4 o'clock, so I need to chip off and get dinner on the go. It is really hard. It is very hard. Trying to get like quite a severe curve next to quite a gentle curve next to a dead straight bit. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'm not making it easy for myself at all. Would I do another seat hoop like that? I'm not so sure anymore. But anyway, that's how I'm going to leave it for this one. I'm sorry it's not done. I'm really sorry it's not done. I want to get it done today, but I've got an awful lot to get this ready. You know, I've got a lot to do to get this ready for the dyno, and we are definitely making dyno because I want to see what the Dynojet kit's doing. So that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you're well and staying safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Laters! And I need to Google how the hell you join a straight bit to a curved bit and make it look nice.